Hello, today's topic is on calibration, calibrating a thermometer for candy making. Right after this brief tutorial, you are going to watch a demonstration on how to actually calibrate to prepare for your candy making recipe in lab. So let's get started. Using your thermometer, it's important that when you're using any kind of thermometer for candy making or for anything, that you are calibrating. But it's especially important for candy making, and the reason why is candy making is very temperature sensitive. If your thermometer is off just a couple of degrees, it will really alter the finished product of your recipe. So you calibrate to make adjustments, and just you're looking for accuracy, and that's the whole purpose of calibrating. It's just to determine if your thermometer is working properly. So to do this, you just stand your thermometer upright in the pan. The bulb should never touch the bottom, or else you have an inaccurate reading. And the reason why is because the thermometer will take a reading of the pan opposed to the actual liquid. And if you're using a digital thermometer, just place it in the middle of the syrup and just hold it until it stops changing. Now, as the bottom says, candy recipes are not forgiving. So if you mess up, the whole lab is pretty much ruined, and you've just wasted a whole period or whatnot. So it's important to always calibrate before your lab. So why do we do this? As I told you, temperature is so critical to candy making. If you're making fudge, for example, and you're 2 degrees, 3 degrees under, your fudge probably will not set properly. And if you overcook your candy, it will be hard as a rock and won't be the soft, melt in your mouth texture that you're looking for. When do you do this? You do it right before you begin making your candy. In most cases, you're not going to be able to calibrate the day before, like when you pre-measure, just because we have multiple classes and there's only so many thermometers we have to go around. How do you do this? There's two methods for calibration. There's the boiling method and then the cold water method, which will be shown in both videos. But just verbally speaking, you're going to take your candy thermometer, you just hook it up to the side of a saucepan, fill your saucepan with water. It doesn't matter how much. You shouldn't fill it all the way to the top because it will take a long time to boil. So just halfway, and then bring the water to a complete boil, which is lots of bubbles, not just the simmer, and lots of roaring bubbles. You read the thermometer when it's at a full boil. It should read 212 degrees. If you don't have 212 degrees at full boiling point, then you're going to have what's called an adjustment. Okay. Now an adjustment means you just kind of have to alter the finished temperature reading that the recipe calls for. So for example, if when you boiled your water and your thermometer read 214 degrees, then you are going to have to add on 2 degrees to the recipe temperature. So what that means is if the recipe stated for you to cook your finished product, your candy syrup, to 238 degrees, you are now going to have to add on 2 degrees because you have a 2 plus 2 degree adjustment. So now you're going to cook your candy to 240 degrees. Likewise, if water boiled and you full boil to 210 degrees, you're going to have a minus 2 degree adjustment. You would just cook it then to 236 degrees. And if you do have an adjustment while you calibrate and you're unsure exactly how to alter or change the recipe, just ask your teacher for assistance because they don't want you to mess up either. So it's important to communicate if you're confused by the adjustment. And then last but not least, if you were to do this in advance and we had there was only one pastry chef class, then you could calibrate while you're pre-measuring, and you store your thermometer in an envelope, and you would mark down if it's level 212, you're good to go, no adjustment, or if you did have an adjustment, you can write it right on the envelope. Since we probably won't be storing your thermometer, you can write your adjustment right on your plan sheet, so then you won't forget what the adjustment is. All right, thank you. You are now going to watch the demonstration on how to calibrate using the boiling method or the cold water method. Thank you.